everyone. Welcome to Rogue Record Music. I'm your host, Rob, and welcome to, I believe this is episode 13. Well, don't you know, Rob? I'm currently in the middle of uploading the video that hopefully you've already just watched, my review of Alter Bridge's new album titled Alter Bridge. It's their self-titled album. But this episode is coming out today, if you're watching this, but it is coming out February 10th because today, February 10th, is my birthday. So, yes, I'm just doing this selfish video so you can wish me. No, I had done my Kiss vinyl tag video, and I had a wonderful comment that I had to look here just to make sure I get the name right. I had a really cool comment from Fido Flint. If I'm saying your YouTube name wrong, I apologize. Going back to the Kiss vinyl tag, he says, "Nice video, Rob. Naturally, I've seen Right Between the Eyes before, but for me, this is a good get to know you episode." So this is kind of that as well, as I'm getting ready. I'm in the process of rolling the channel out with more videos, and being my birthday, I thought this might be kind of another way to get to know me and really kind of open up the portal or open up the CD case or the record store, however, whatever you want to refer to, is getting to know a little bit more about some of the music and the different avenues that I want to take this channel in. Yes, I love a lot of hard rock, and there's Kiss and Sevenduset and Dream Theater stuff all over the room with a bunch of Funko Pops. And yes, you can see Chicago and Richard Marx back here. I propped those albums out. And I was trying to think of a cool way to, or maybe a different way of like a get to know me type of a thing, or get to know maybe some of the other music I listen to outside of the rock and pop and those type of things. And I mentioned pop, some of that's going to be in here. So I love doing the 9, where I'll take an album that maybe has 10 to 15 tracks, and when I review it, I'll whittle it down to the 9 essential songs, or 9 songs that are my favorite off of the album. Instead of, ranking, oh, this is my song 15 is actually my favorite song, then song 6, song 7. I thought it'd be really kind of cool just to make things a 9, and that kind of stuck when we were doing that on Right Between the Eyes. So all my lists are generated around 9. What are the 9 favorite, drummers that have appeared on albums that I bought, or, whatever the topic might be. So you've clicked on this one. It's the 9 10th songs from Rob's favorite albums. Now, these aren't necessarily my favorite albums of all time. Some of those are in here. Some of them are not, or these are just albums that I really like a lot. And my birthday is February 10th. It is my favorite number. It was a number I had on any sports, jersey. My Twitter handle is drummerrob10. 10 has just kind of been that thing. And it's funny doing a podcast where I'm doing the 9 and it's not 10, but everybody does a 10, so you follow. But as I initially started writing this list, as I'm looking at it right off the corner here, I initially did pick my 10 or my 9 favorite albums. And I thought, whatever the 10th song on that album is it one that I absolutely really love, or is it one that was like, oh, I kind of forgot about this. This is one of my favorite albums, but I forgot about this 10th song, or wow, it completely slipped my mind. So there's one song on here that really made me change how I viewed this list. That these became 10, for the most part. The 10th song is a song that I absolutely love. There are a couple exceptions in here where it does fit the formula of this is my favorite album. This just happens to be the 10th song, a favorite album. This happens to be the 10th song on this album. In most cases, the 10th song, not all, probably half, whatever half of 9 is, split it in the middle. But you know what I mean. But this was one, as I was going through it, I thought, well, the last episode I just talked about Alter Bridge. So I had an Alter Bridge song in here. So I thought, well, I'll take that off in lieu of something else. And I just did the Kiss vinyl tag, so Kiss doesn't appear in here. I've done some Dream Theater stuff recently, and I'm going to have a big Dream Theater project coming up where I'm going to review their latest box set, and that's going to be a huge video. So I thought I'll save that, and with Dream Theater, sometimes I may have an 8-song album, a 6-song album, because the songs are so long, you don't get 10 songs half the time. I wanted to also kind of stray away from just the rock and the hair metal and the progressive rock and the things that I've typically done here, where if you go back to the very first video I posted, which is kind of the intro video, I talk about some of the different genres and music that I like. I like pop, I like jazz, I like country, I love, contemporary Christian music, Christian rock, some folk stuff. What you won't see on here is really any rap. I think I only technically have one or two. Like I have an Eminem album, and I might have an LL Cool J. I may have some R&B that has rapping in it. I've got some Bobby Brown where he raps in it or has a rapper, but a straight up gangster Snoop Dogg rap, won't happen here on Rogue Record Music unless something crazy happens. But I thought this might be a little more of a peek behind the curtain to the other types of music that I want to talk about. Yes, I love rock, but I play in a praise band at our church. So we're playing a lot of contemporary Christian music, and I am a Christian. So my faith does play into this, and I want to hopefully turn you on to, yes, I like the Striper and the Petra, but I like MercyMe and Kane and Casting Crowns, Jeremy Camp, and I could go on and on. Strange Celebrity, different types of artists. I like Leanne Rimes a lot. So not that she's Christian, I'm just saying there's different avenues that I want to tackle on this to say, my music background is very eclectic, so I hope I have something here for just about everyone. And my goal is to, I've bought all this stuff. I want to talk about it. And maybe it's something you've never really heard before, or you're like, I've wondered what that's like, or, I wasn't aware of this Christian album. This list is going to be really kind of eclectic, and if you know me, I think for a lot of people, they're going to go, yep, that sounds right on par with Rob. And on other hands, I'm going to get some people going, really? Really? You listen to that? Stevie Flythe and I did a Monkees episode on here. I'm a huge Monkees fan. The Monkees almost made this list, but since we had talked about Pool It, I was like, okay, I'll let that go.
Welcome to the 9. You may only choose 9 songs to move forward. No more, no less. The 9 is here.
And I just want to say that with the ability to have, iTunes and, Apple Music, which is the same thing, Rob, Amazon and Tidal and Spotify and all those things, I'm going to put links down in here to all of the versions of the songs that I'm talking about. And it's probably going to be just in YouTube form, because there's one song on here that is not available on any streaming service whatsoever. So the only way you could hear it is to go to YouTube. So thank goodness somebody's ripped the album to YouTube. So I'm sure you can look up all these songs, but I'm going to put them there. So if you're curious, like, I don't know that song, I've never heard of that song before, or what album is that off of, you'll be able to find all of that below. So without further ado, let's get into this list. Okay, so let's get into the 9 10th songs on we'll add the word some of Rob's favorite albums. These are in no particular order, with except for the first one and the last one. So let's just get started. Again, this is in the first spot. It's not number one. This is a really really good song. So I really got my love and affinity for music through my mother. She would, as she was cleaning the house on, a Saturday, she would put a stack of records on, and the turntable would hold about 4 records. And as it played, the needle went back, then it dropped the next record. So I grew up listening to Neil Diamond, Anne Murray, some of the Beatles, Neil Sedaka, and this gentleman. I was lucky enough to see him on Valentine's Day, 2000. Was it 2000? It might have been 2001. Could even have been 2002. I would have to check my ticket stub, and maybe something will scroll across the screen here. Some of the Fox Theater in Detroit, beautiful, beautiful place to see a show. Have been a fan of this gentleman the first time I heard his voice, and this song in particular. So I had to kind of do a little weaving, dumb luck wise. I went to this album particularly. I thought, I wonder where this song falls on the list. And it's actually higher on the album than what I realized. I'm looking at the track listing here. It actually comes in at number 5 on the album. This One's For You. And as I started going through the catalog, I thought, well, let me pull out the live album. I wonder what's on the live album. And this song from that album sits at number 10 on this album. And I was just blown away. And this was the first album I bought by this artist. My mom had This One's For You and number 2 and I Write the Songs. Yes. Barry Manilow. I love Barry Manilow. I don't care what you say. This was one that his songwriting, and yes, he had other writers and he wrote some of his own stuff, but the song that I am picking off of this album, and this version particular, I love the studio version that's on This One's For You, but the one off of this album live, Weekend in New England. I love the storytelling of this song. Last night I waved goodbye, and now it seems years. I'm back in the city where nothing is clear. Just that, I trying to remember how old I was when I really started listening to and I started gravitating towards lyrics of, I might have been 10, which ironically is fitting. It's favorite number 10, but there was something about it that clicked in with me as this way to tell a story in a song. And as I started getting older and what it would be like to eventually fall in love with somebody, and what a loss and a heartbreak this song starts out. And as it gets towards the end of the song, as it's just building, he says, I feel my blood flow with you. I realize you could bring out all the love that I have. With you, I believe there's a heaven. So earth ain't so bad. So tell me, when will our eyes meet? When can I touch you? When will this strong yearning end? And when will I hold you again? Man, that wants to almost bring a tear to my eyes, of that someone that you are separated by distance, or something just didn't work out, and you're starting to go, no, I was wrong. I need to know when we're going to be together. This long distance relationship thing isn't working out. I've got to travel seas. I've got to do whatever to get to. And those type of songs just hit me lyrically to go, man, I hope I don't ever feel like that. But if I do, I hope this is how I feel. So Mom, thank you for introducing me to Barry Manilow. I love Barry Manilow. I bought this when I was out riding my bike in the town that we live in. Kind of out in the country, somebody had a yard sale and they had some records, and one of the third or fourth ones that I flipped through was this, and I love this. This came out in 1977. So good. And the other 10th song off of this album, since it's a double album, I write the songs. So there you go. The first one, Weekend in New England, the song specifically. But this version comes off of this album, Barry Manilow Live. So this one, if you knew me in junior high school, I think everybody in the world was fascinated with this gentleman, was everywhere. In 1987, released this monstrous album, and the success that this artist had with each album that came out just kept surpassing the last one. And this became the big, huge spectacle of what is this new album going to look at after he dominated the Grammys with his previous album. This album would go off to release, I believe, every single song off of this. I think every song was released off of this album in some way, shape, or form. I know a couple of them made it on a direct-to-video VHS called Moonwalker. Michael Jackson Bad. I've got my original 1987 copy back here somewhere right in that. That's the white spine right there. This is the reissue, and I'm not sure when this is done because Rob isn't wearing his glasses right now. But I can't underline, I can't circle how big this album was for me, and still is. You've got the first single was I Just Can't Stop Loving You, that never had a music video for, so it's the only song off of this to not get a music video. It went straight to radio only. The first actual music video was the long form video for Bad. So you have Bad, The Way You Make Me Feel, Liberian Girl, Just Good Friends, Another Part of Me, Man in the Mirror, I Just Can't Stop Loving You, Dirty Diana, and the 10th song, Smooth Criminal. I'm trying to get out of album review mode, and I know as soon as I started this, the Michael Jackson brain in my head just went off. But talking about Smooth Criminal was towards the latter part of the album cycle, and this album went on for 2 or 3 years. It wouldn't be till 91 when the Dangerous album would come out. So you have the most of 87, 88, 89, and to the latter part of 90 that he was still putting out singles from this album. And, Smooth Criminal has that wonderful shot in the music video, and that's where the Moonwalker long form video came from, was the long form video for Smooth Criminal. And I think it might be in here. I'm probably going to be wrong. There we go. So there is a shot from Smooth Criminal, and does that fantastic lean, which later you find out is kind of, his shoes are kind of being held into the floor, but still to have that upper body strength to pull yourself back up. And just what a cool video. I thought there was another shot in here. There's another one from the Smooth Criminal video. Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? You've been struck by... You know it. Like, you can hear it. And this is one at work. I hear Smooth Criminal at work. I'm catching myself wanting to talk about this album. This isn't the album review. This is, hey, this is what is the 10th song off of one of your favorite albums, and it's Smooth Criminal. But, man, the time I spent with this album is unfathomable. I can't count the hours enough, especially in 87. 88 was huge. That's going in my junior high school era, getting up to, high school. I spent a lot of time with this. So much so I ended up perfecting the moonwalk. So when anybody played a Michael Jackson song at a wedding or something like that, somebody would say, Rob, do the moonwalk, So again, I have such an affinity for Michael Jackson and just the genius of his writing, his harmony, melody, song structure. It's just, this is the stuff that still wants to make you get up and move. And man, Smooth Criminal. I almost went full blown to talk about this album. I will do an album review at some point. I had a cousin, Lori, that had the LP for this, and I wanted to borrow that all the time. So sadly, I don't have the LP for it. I need to rectify that. I need to buy this on LP, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Michael Jackson, Smooth Criminal. So this is going to be a fun one. I got to see this band live. They did a very short run, and this band did not stay in existence very long because of other situations that were going on with the primary band that the guitar player was a part of, and what ended up happening. So this is the album that it is not available on iTunes. I just looked, and I've been looking on Amazon. I don't see it there. It might be on Tidal, maybe. I would be shocked if it is. So there is definitely a YouTube link for this song in here. I want to give a little history of knowing like who this band is. So this is what we would refer to as a supergroup. It originally started out as a band called Planet Us, with Neil Schon, Sammy Hagar, Michael Anthony, obviously both of Van Halen, and Dean Castronovo of Journey. So that band was working on a couple songs that have kind of come out. There was a song called Peephole, and I'm trying to remember what the other song. There's two songs on here. My Sanctuary, I think, is the other song. Again, I'll have credits here somewhere. But that project kind of ended because Sammy Hagar went back to Van Halen. So the project kind of got reformed, and they brought in Marco Mendoza, who had played with Carlos Santana, and he played in Whitesnake and some various other bands. And they brought in Jeff Scott Soto on vocals. So this is the first album. It's a band called Soul Circus. And again, I won't talk too much about the album review because I love this album. But Dean Castronovo had to pull away from the project, and there is Dean right here. So there's Neil, Jeff, Dean, and Marco Mendoza. So, and you can tell that track 10 on this is a song called Coming Home. More on that in just a second. So Dean had to pull out for some family issues, and just as the project was getting going, they almost referred to this as kind of a demo and a first stop at it. Well, they brought in Virgil Donati on drums as they were rehearsing. They thought this is sounding really good, so they recut the album, replaced. I shouldn't say replaced. They just redid it. Left 90% of all Neil Schon's guitars, the majority of Marco Mendoza's bass. Again, I'm talking in an album review here. Sorry. And, recorded a couple new songs and moved some track sequencing around. So the 10th song on this, if I get it out of here, is called Friends to Lovers. An absolutely fantastic song. And I got to see them up at the Black Cat Cafe, I think is what it was called. Again, I'll put it up here if I'm wrong, up in Detroit. Not a great part of Detroit at all, but I was so glad to be able to see this band. And yes, they played some Journey stuff. They played Stand Up and Shout. Jeff Scott Soto, if you've seen the movie Rockstar, Jeff Scott Soto is the voice of the main rocker in the band that ends up leaving. Then Mark Wahlberg's character, takes over lead vocal duties. But the song Stand Up and Shout is actually sung by Jeff Scott Soto. Again, this is going to be I'm so hard to not do this and not just talk about the 10th song. But Friends to Lovers is a great tune talking about a relationship between a guy and a girl, and they've been friends. They've gone through, and it's a up-tempo rocker type of a song. If you click down below, you'll get to hear the song. But it's that thought of your friends, your best friends, and there's that moment where the relationship starts to turn where one of them goes, I think I'm actually falling for you. Is that something that we can do? The line is, my only fear is you'll go away. How can I tell you that you're the one? There's no turning back after these words are said. Friends to lovers, don't cry anymore. You've seen, this person has seen the other guys that this girl is going out with, and the guys are treating her bad, and you start realizing, I could be that guy. I could be that guy for you. You're not going to have to cry anymore, but this is going to change our relationship. And I believe it's going to change it for the better. I love the chorus of the song. A guitar solo from Neil Schon is absolutely fantastic. And the little bass and drum, jam and fade out towards the end of the song, was not on the original with the Dean Castronovo version of the song. It's on this one, and that's the one that you'll be able to hear. Just, again, if you like Journey and you like the Rockstar, movie, this is right up your alley. Virgil Donati is a beast on drums. But check out the song Friends to Lovers. I can't recommend this album enough, but good luck finding it, because you're going to pay a pretty penny to get this. And I'm glad I bought it when it was released. And so the only way you're going to be able to really listen to it is on YouTube. So here we go. All right, where are we at? Number 4 on the list. I know I might get some pushback for this. If you say, what is your what's a guilty pleasure? I saw this woman in concert in 2000. Actually, I think it was in mid 99. I'll have to go back and look at the ticket stub. The show was, the album came out in 97, and her husband had gotten sick. And so the tour got postponed close to a year. And then we eventually did see it. So I believe this was in 99. I'll have to find the ticket stub. The 10th song on this album. I saw this tour with my ex-wife, and we'd listened to the album and her other previous albums leading up to the show. And, my ex was a real big fan of her, but I really didn't listen to the song, and it didn't hit me until we were divorced. And, I proposed in 99, and we were married in April of 2000, and we were divorced. It was official the day before Thanksgiving of 22. The song I'm referring to comes off of this album, Celine Dion's 1997 album, Let's Talk About Love, and it's a song called Us. And it's written by Billy Price. And I want to read this passage. I remember being in my car and had the CD in the car. And I think that's one of the great things about music. And it's one of the things that I think sometimes we torture ourselves. And I know I had friends that say, you need to get over this. And I was the first one of my friends to get married. And then I was the first one of the group of us to go through a divorce. Others, that would happen to them later on. And some of them, thankfully, that didn't happen to. But there were three of us in our group that went through a divorce. And when you're the first of somebody to go through something like that, sometimes I think it's easy to kind of, you're trying to relay to this as if it's a high school romance. If it's like, oh, I know you guys were dating, but how many people marry their high school sweethearts? And that was not the case. We met online, and you put two people that were kind of sad and lonely together. And after a while, when you're not sad and lonely, you don't have anything in common. Yes, everybody else could kind of see that we weren't evenly yoked, as the Bible would say. But I think people just go, oh, it's fine. You shouldn't have been with this person anyway. So just get over it, get back out there. That's hard. So I want to read a passage from this. I'm either going to put the lyrics up here. You can just watch me read this. Once we were of one mind, drifting in one time, and ever true, we were friends. But something is gone from the picture of this life. If we could only see like we did before we became imprisoned, can I reopen the door? You say it's never easy, then tell me what was. It was never worth the pain. Could you believe it was? When the life keeps giving, that's what life keeps giving to us. And people want to say like, yes, and this is the album that launched 1,000 ships. My Heart Will Go On appears on this album. Now, My Heart Will Go On was written before the album was finished and was put on here, obviously, because it was doing so well. And if you didn't buy the Titanic soundtrack, which a lot of people did, then they bought Celine's new album at the time. It was on there. But this was one that sometimes you find that song that you never really paid attention to, and it left those lingering questions for some time. Like, where did this thing fall apart? And, hindsight being 2020, now being married again for 18 plus years to the woman I was meant to be with, I hadn't heard this song till today. I don't remember the last time I listened to it. It has probably been so long, and maybe once I stopped feeling sorry for myself way back when, maybe it was the last time I listened to it before I met my wife right now. But as I was sitting back there looking through CDs of like, what albums am I going to pick? And this is the song that I said that really made me change once I remembered, oh, the 10th song on this album is Us. And music has this wonderful way of allowing you to time travel. And sometimes you time travel with perspective of being utterly broken in 2002 and looking at it now in 2026 going, man, I would love to go tell that younger version of me, it is going to be okay. The us that you're longing for to try and reconnect the pieces with is the us of the person you're married to right now. It's that one hit home to go. I remember where I was. I remember being in the car in my driveway, and whatever possessed me to put this CD on, they're listening to it today made me go, man, I am better off for having gone through that. But this song was the snapshot in time for me that, yeah, I wouldn't be the person I am today had I not gone through that. And this album played a part of who and what I am. And yeah, if you've never heard the song Us by Celine Dion, again, it'll be down in the description. Check it out and let me know what you think. And have you felt like this song? All right, number 5, Will You Love Me from Nelson's After the Rain album, the 10th song on this brilliant album. Now, I just recently got this on vinyl. It's kind of buried in here off to the side, and I was lazy only pulling out CDs. Nelson, for me, has a distinction of, I saw the Monkees in 1989, so that was technically my first concert. But my first rock concert was Cinderella's tour with Nelson and Lynch Mob and in the opening acts for Cinderella. And my friend Ben and I were, big on this album and Cinderella, but coming away from that show, Nelson just blew me away. And the Kiss connection is Bobby Rock right here was in Vinnie Vincent Invasion for 2 albums. And Vinnie Vincent used to be in Kiss. So there, I found a way to get Kiss somewhere in here. But the song Will You Love Me is an up-tempo rocker. It closes the album. So it is the 10th song on the album. And it's almost kind of akin to the Celine Dion song in a way. It's really talking about, do you love me or will you just let me go? That's all I need to know. If this is the end of the relationship, fine, tell me. But if you really do love me, then let's do this thing. The guitar solo is fantastic. Matthew and Gunnar Nelson, their vocal harmonies are fantastic. The whole entire band sings aside from Bobby Rock. Paul Morkovich right here, he is the music director for The Voice. So if you are watching The Voice, he is directing and playing keyboards and piano and, doing all the stage stuff for all the singers. So there's some TV, insight for you too. Again, I have a notion to want to start reviewing the album, but Will You Love Me? Fantastic song, a great closer. I believe when we saw them in 91, this might have been song 2, song 3 in the set, but a killer closing track for the album. This is one of my favorite albums. It is in my top 10, top 9 albums of all time. I haven't ranked it yet on the channel when I review this, but before too long, we are going to go through this album. A fantastic, brilliant album. But Will You Love Me, track 10 off of Nelson's debut album. Okay, number 6 on the list comes off of this album. It is Sevendust's Season album. This is their 4th album, and it's the first one I would hear. A couple years after the Divorces came out in 2003. This is late 2003 when the album came out, and I wouldn't hear it till early 2004. But the song Suffocate, this was an album that, in a band that I instantly fell in love with. And this was an album that really kind of pulled me out of the funk emotionally that I was in and gave me a spot to be angry when I felt I needed to be angry, and another places to go. Yeah, I do feel right. I can, rebuild my emotional core, if you will. I want to read part of the lyrics of Suffocate. The chorus is, fade into a dream, try to save me from myself now. Save me from myself now. Fallen from the world. If I could ever breathe the air, then maybe I wouldn't suffocate. And I think this song in particular, along with many others off this album, made me go, I've got to pull myself out of this But when you are feeling less than and you are feeling like I'm a complete failure, I was a complete failure as a husband, I was a complete failure as a partner for somebody else, I'm a failure at my job, I must be a failure at life, that this album was really kind of, no, you need to pull yourself out of this, or you will suffocate yourself emotionally. You will suffocate yourself physically if you're not careful. And I had a great group of friends that wouldn't let me drag myself down. And this is a band that from this point I have followed straight through, bought the whole entire catalog, and they're just getting ready to release a new album this year. I cannot wait for it. So stay tuned. There'll definitely be a Sevendust review. But the 10th song off of Sevendust Seasons is a song called Suffocate. And yes, this is a hard rocker, but the lyrics just really hit home. So check this one out too. Okay, coming in at number 7 on the list. This is the debut album. And I knew in the back of my mind, I do have another Kiss reference. One member of this band was in Kiss for 12 years. I'm talking about Bruce Kulick with his band partner in John Corabi, who was in Motley Crue for 5 years, replacing Vince Neil. I'm talking about the 1998 debut of the band Union from their self-titled album. Again, not trying to do album reviews, but what a fantastic album. The 10th song off of this is a song called Tangerine. And tangerine is just the lyrical word that they're describing to obtaining that thing that you need, you want in your life, the thing that's going to help you move along, the goal that you're trying to reach, whatever that thing is that is tangible that you want. You know, I want to make more money. I want to get married. I want a bigger car. I want to play in a rock band. That's your tangerine. That's the thing, the brass ring, if you will, that you're after. This feels right in, again, with both of them, one being in Motley Crue, one being in Kiss. It kind of has that, late 90s or mid 90s flair from both of them, but it also feels like it could be, Aerosmith driven, Cheap Trick, kind of right in that wheelhouse. Just a fantastic song. Life ain't always what it seems. Searching for my tangerine. Nothing else is more than a dream. I'm still searching for my tangerine. Fantastic track and brilliant album. An underrated album all day long. So, again, track 10 off of this, Tangerine. All right, the Ocho.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
Number 8 on the list comes off this album. This came out in 2021. So it was being worked on during the pandemic, and this goes right into my contemporary Christian roots. I'm talking about the band MercyMe from their album Exhale. The 10th song off of this, if you can see it right here. There it is. Brand new, featuring Gloria Gaynor. Yes, that Gloria Gaynor from the 70s, disco queen that she was. The song Brand New has a definite 70s vibe to it. You can almost see, as I'm closing my eyes, see the disco ball. I love the lyrics to this song. The lyrics are just about becoming a new person in Christ, whether you've, first time accepting God, or maybe this is the first time you're letting the sins of the past go away. Like, I'm going to be a better me. I'm going to be better. I'm going to be better. I'm going to read some of the lyrics here. These are, again, I really hope you listen to this one. It's just a fun song. Screams 1970, whatever, 78, 77, 79. I'm going to go from the bridge here. Bouncing my head, can't seem to get the smile off my face. Once I was lost, but now I'm fashionably late. And I just got to say, I'm brand new. Now I'm grooving to the beat of this new me. I'm brand new. Now I'm seeing what's been there all along. It took me so long. Ooh, I want to start singing. It's more than a feeling. I'm finally believing. Woo! I'm brand new. Brand new. The keyboard solo in this is fantastic. The harmonies are just layered, fantastic. They are getting ready to release I Can Only Imagine 2 in theaters. That was their big hit a few albums before this one. So they've got a movie coming out that's going to be in movie theaters very, very soon. But a song that when they played this live, they dropped the, disco ball down and just, I don't know. There was a lot of praising going on, and the fact that we all get to be brand new creatures in Christ. So just what a fantastic song. If you've never heard it before, give it a spin. I guarantee you're going to dig this. Track 10 off this, Brand New, featuring Gloria Gaynor. All right, track 9, the final track off of the 10th songs off of some of Rob's favorite albums. This is a plug for this band. I was really thinking another song was the 10th song on this album. And when I saw what this one was, I'm like, I do really like this song. Pre-orders for their new album just went up yesterday, I believe. And if you are a fan of the era of radio that a lot of us probably grew up on, the AM FM radio of the days of Chicago, Journey, Kenny Loggins, Tom Petty, and even moving into a little more modern into Rascal Flatts, then I really think you're going to like this next one. Coming off a band called Generation Radio. So you might recognize some of the faces on here. If you don't recognize some of them, I'll tell you who this band is, and you're going to go, oh, I know all their stuff. So we've got Tom Yankton over here. He's been a session artist for a lot of people in Nashville, a lot of prominent country artists like the Keith Urbans and Rascal Flatts. He's played on a Chicago album. We have Chris Rodriguez over here. He's done Kenny Loggins sessions before, and he's actually done a Megadeth album, if you can believe that. Moving into the center here, right here, Jay DeMarcus is one of the co-lead singers and bass player, keyboard player for Rascal Flatts. Then we have Dean Castronovo, who is in Bad English. He was in Hardline and is currently the drummer in Journey and has been for a long time. And this guy right here is where my childhood of my Chicago is. This is Jason Scheff of Chicago. The Will You Still Love Me? What Kind of Man Would I Be? You Come to My Senses. So you know all of their stuff. Every one of the band members sings, has a lead vocal, co-lead vocal, triple lead vocal, quadruple lead vocal, five-tuple. You get what I mean. The vocal harmonies on this are absolutely outstanding. And they're referring to themselves as, we are the generation of people that grew up on radio. So if you are a radio junkie as a kid and you listened to Dick Clark, the weekly top 40, you're going to be right at home with this album. The song on here, now that I've got all that out of the way, is Waiting for the Sunshine. It's actually a lead vocal by Chris Rodriguez here. It's more of one of the rockier songs, but it starts out as a kind of a straight ahead, mid-tempo rocker, but really kind of opens up to this really beautiful chorus on Waiting for Your Sunshine. Is how you have met this girl. They talked about meeting each other on J Street, wherever that is. And you were just waiting for her to come back into your view, waiting for her sunshine. The reason I picked this and the reason it's in the ending slot, They just announced their second album, Generation Radio Take 2. And all the pre-orders are up. So right before I hit record on this video, I ordered both the CD and the vinyl like I did last time. I know I'm saying I'm not doing an album review. I cannot recommend Generation Radio enough. The songwriting on this album is amazing. I got to see them at the Ohio State Fair right before this album came out. They should be huge, and they are all in huge or a part of huge bands. But I really hope the momentum for this really picks up. Do yourself a favor. If you are in adult contemporary radio and that's your jam that you listen to, my gosh, what a great song. But at least check out Waiting for Your Sunshine. And that doesn't even do this album justice of what this is. I can close my eyes and go, it is 1986 all over again with this album, and I'm loving every single minute of it. Okay, that is the 9 10th songs with some kind of album reviews here. And a shameless plug for that great band, Generation Radio. What is your 9 10th songs from your 9 favorite albums? Or what's the 10th favorite song off of an album that you like? Or the 10th song that you're like, this is my favorite album, and I never gave the 10th song in this album the due that it needs. Did you find a song like Us from Celine Dion that you're like, I slept on this song for so long? It is a brilliant song. So that's where we're going to end my little birthday video to me type of thing. So come back in for the next video. The next video will be Van Halen live at Wembley 1995. We'll talk about the vinyl that I just picked up. It's up there somewhere behind the microphone. So that's the next video coming up. Until next time, I'll be here waiting in Rogue Record Music to go through the bins, to spin something, and we'll start a discussion. We'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.